This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. As a nation, we've been experiencing low-grade anxiety since January 20th, 2017. Donald Trump as president has put us collectively in a situation where we are always waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're always waiting for the next insane scandal, unprecedented actions by the President of the United States, criminality run amok, obstruction of justice, abuse of power, the wanton and continued violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. Donald Trump is unlike any president we've ever had, and we've had some doozies. We face a choice come November to oust Donald Trump through a free and fair election like we've had time and time again throughout the history of our country. And I hope we do that. Joe Biden, who will likely be that person, did an interview with the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists at their joint virtual convention yesterday. He did a live-streamed interview, and part of that interview, they asked him a question about the possible prosecution of Donald Trump for his many crimes and whether or not Joe Biden will stand in the way of that. And Joe Biden gave two different answers. Some of it was very good, but he left a little wiggle room. And it's the wiggle room that I want to talk about all of it, but it's the wiggle room that I really want to focus on. Because we might be seeing a repeat here. We very well could be seeing a repeat of 1974 in September when Gerald Ford, and I'm going to play that audio, that video, when Gerald Ford pardoned on live TV, signed the pardon of criminal Richard Nixon. First, let's get to the Biden interview. It's just a brief couple of minutes, but it's very important. Stick with it and listen to the nuance of everything that he says.
Someone who is on your VP shortlist, Senator Kamala Harris, told NPR last year that the Justice Department would have, quote, no choice but to prosecute Trump after his presidency. Should you win? Would you follow through on the many investigations? Could you envision him, a former president, being prosecuted if the evidence shows wrongdoing?
Look, the Justice Department is not the president's private law firm. The Attorney General is not the president's private lawyer. I will not interfere with the Justice Department's judgment of whether or not they think they should pursue the prosecution of anyone that they think has violated the law. But I also
including a former president.
It depends on what happens. It depends on what happens. I think it is a very, very unusual thing and probably not very, how can I say it, good for democracy to be talking about prosecuting former presidents.
Well, what has to happen? You say depending on what happens. What has to happen? What is the bar
for
you?
I'm sorry, depending on, I don't know what some of these cases going on in the New York courts are. I don't know the detail of those cases. And so if there's a case underway that in fact has to be pursued and they believe it should be pursued and the Attorney General thinks it is, that's a very different thing. But in terms of saying, I think the president violated the law, I think the president did this, therefore go and prosecute him, I will not do that.
But if it shows that there was wrongdoing, you believe that a president could actually be prosecuted?
I don't think anyone's above the law. And you're not. And I love the way you're trying to get me into this thing about lock him up. I'm not going there.
Well, there are right now a number of investigations. I mean, the Southern District of New York just said that there are extensive and protracted criminal conduct at the Trump Organization that they're looking into. This isn't speculative. This is something that's actually happening.
I said those things that are underway, if they prove to be a criminal offense, then in fact, that would be up to the Attorney General to decide whether he or she wanted to proceed with it. I am not going to make that individual judgment. He's not my lawyer. Or she's not my lawyer.
Mr. Vice President.
Go on.
Now, look, I understand not wanting to get caught in the trap of lock him up, doing what Donald Trump did during the 2016 campaign, and indeed what his followers have done since about Hillary Clinton. So I get that he doesn't want to say, absolutely, I will be all for that, we should be locking him up, because in a country like ours, where we do have free and fair elections, you don't want every subsequent administration to be looking backward and prosecuting perceived wrongs. All of our time would be taken up by that. You don't want that. But we are in a situation with Donald Trump that is unlike anything we've ever seen, where there is actual, legitimate, impeachable offenses. Crimes are being committed on a likely daily basis, emanating from the Oval Office. Abuses of power over and over and over. Self-dealing. He's already under investigation by state governments and local municipalities for fraud, for business crimes, as well as money laundering and hush money payments, campaign finance violations. So we're in a different situation. And some of these quotes are decent, and I want to read them. Again, sometimes repetition is good because it really drives home what we're talking about here. So when he says, look, the Justice Department is not the president's private law firm. The Attorney General is not the president's private lawyer. I will not interfere with the Justice Department's judgment on whether or not they think they should pursue the prosecution of anyone that they think has violated the law. Now, that is true. The president or the Justice Department is not the president's private law firm like Donald Trump thinks it is. However, it is the law firm of we, the people. And there have been egregious actions, crimes against we, the people of the United States, and the Justice Department, being our law firm, should represent us. And Donald Trump shouldn't be off the hook just because he's a powerful man, former president, as he will be, billionaire, ostensibly. If it is truly justice for all, and equal justice under the law, and you see Lady Justice with the scales and a blindfold on so she can't tell whom she's meeting justice to, then Donald Trump should not be off the hook for the betterment of the nation or any other reason. Further, when Joe Biden said, in terms of saying, I think the president violated the law, I think the president did this, therefore go on and prosecute him, I will not do that. I think that is a fantastic sentiment, that a Joe Biden administration will be one wherein the Justice Department is an independent arbiter of justice. That Joe Biden won't have his thumb on the scale influencing his Attorney General and the Attorney General's lieutenants to do the bidding of the Oval Office. That's good. But the wiggle room, and this is where I have a problem, is this statement here, where he called the prosecution of Donald Trump a very unusual thing and probably not very good for democracy. That is troubling. Let me tell you what's not good for democracy, Vice President Biden. Powerful men and women being able to skirt the law, while little, nameless people they are crushed under the weight of the prosecutorial power of the United States government. That's a problem. That Donald Trump, there's even in the air that he might be let go, that he might be able to walk away free, scot-free, as they say, is a problem. We don't want every administration to prosecute the previous. We don't want that. But when actual crimes against America have taken place, we must act. If for nothing else than to send a signal that the rule of law is important in this country. That justice under the law does exist. that equal protection under the law does exist. And that there's a way to get around it if you're powerful enough or rich enough or famous enough. Is that the lesson we want to send to children? Is that the aspirational goal we want to reach toward and live? I don't think so. Because we are facing a situation where we're going to have a repeat of September 8th, 1974, when Gerald Ford took to national TV behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, and he pardoned Richard Nixon. Watch this very brief moment with me.
Finally, I feel that Richard Nixon and his loved ones have suffered enough and will continue to suffer no matter what I do, no matter what we as a great and good nation can do together to make his goal of peace come true. Now, therefore, I, Gerald R. Ford, President of the United States, pursuant to the pardon power conferred upon me by Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, have granted, and by these presents do grant, a full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon for all offenses against the United States which he, Richard Nixon, has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from July 20, 1969 through August 9, 1974.
That is a sad, sad moment in American history. That Richard Nixon was pardoned. Let's read the quote. Finally, Gerald Ford feels that Richard Nixon and his loved ones have suffered enough. They've suffered enough, y'all. I hereby do grant a full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon for all offenses against all offenses. Thank goodness he wasn't a serial murderer, because he wouldn't have been pardoned for all offenses against the United States, which he, Richard Nixon, has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from July 20th, 1969 through August 1974. For 5 years, Richard Nixon was given a blank check, able to walk away because him and his family had suffered enough. No. Not for the sake of democracy, not for the sake of the healing of the nation. No. If charges are sought, indictments are granted, and Donald Trump there is a prosecution that is sought, it should be sought with the full faith and credit of the United States Justice Department. He should do time. It shouldn't be one of these house arrest situations. Abuse of power is bad enough. Obstruction of justice? No. Violating the Constitution? No. Not one, to level threats, and I'm not really in any position of power to level threats. But I hope this, that if we do go down this road and Joe Biden turns into a Gerald Ford, that the people will rise up, that this will be unacceptable. It doesn't matter whether you have a D after your name or an R after your name. Justice should be beyond political party. That is what heals a nation. Anyway, I would love to know what you think. Reasonable people can disagree about this. 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Let's have a conversation. about this, in the comments even. If you have been thinking about it, and maybe I pushed you over the edge with this one, I would invite you to consider becoming a channel member. There are some perks. I send out stickers with my stupid face on them. But more importantly, I think that you can rest assured that you're helping support independent media, independent voices, independent analysis like this. And I would really appreciate it if I were able to marshal the size of my audience and 1 or 2% were to become channel members. I would be completely free from the wild and inexplicable policies of YouTube from a week-to-week basis. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you considering it. I'll see you next time. I appreciate all of you. Be genuine. Take care of one another.